And what I need to do now is just make sure my palette is nice and clean. Let's spray it up. My paints. And while that sets up, we'll just get some tissue and clean up my palette. And hopefully we'll get started here. Let's get nice. Click, click, click. Okay. So I think, like everything else, we're going to start this with our. We're going to start this off with our sky, and we're going to move in from the sky into the rest of the area. And I want to start with a good amount of cerulean blue. Actually, it's going to be a little bit of cerulean, a little bit of cobalt. And we'll start with my 1-inch brush here. Take some water, get some. Now here's what I'm doing: is I'm coming in here, picking up my cerulean blue. Now this is basically, right now, my cerulean blue is pretty hard. I don't have a lot of pigment in here that's nice and fresh. I need to wet it down a little bit more, and it's going to penetrate that to pick it up. But we're going to just start with cerulean blue. And this is all wet up here right now, so we're just going to come in here and get me some sky in here. And I want to paint some clouds. As well. Working myself basically around my building, which I probably don't really need to, but we'll see. I'm going to put some trees in here anyway. That's going to be darker because we're going to have a pole in here. I have a pole in there, so we'll bring. And I'm leaving some white areas. A little bit heavier pigment. We'll get some cobalt blue, mix it up a little bit darker, and come in, and we're going to just give it a little bit of a whisper here. A little bit of cobalt blue added to that. A little bit stronger on that side. Okay. So the idea behind here is really, this is pretty wet. And I want this to sort of slowly wick. I'm going to make sure I come in here because this is all sky. Wow. Okay. All right. And we're going to just take my tissue and dry out a few areas. I'm going to put a tree in here anyway, so soften that up a bit, soften that up a bit. Just feather this down. All right. Make it a wispy. All right, so we'll let it go. Because you know and I know that every time I do this, I'm always doing something a little bit different. Trying out something a little bit different, and we want to just make sure that we got something that's going to be doable, workable here. All right, so let's take a look at. My barn's going to be on the white side, so I'm going to be painting around the barn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint my tree. I got a tree in here, I got background, I got bushes, and if we're going to use the same values, same colors in my trees, I'm going to come in here and they're going to be green. We'll use a little bit of yellow ochre mixed up with my cerulean blue, and we're going to start to paint in here. We're going to come in and let's get some green. Now what I need is less water. I actually do need less water on here. So I need pigment. A lot more pigment than water. So we're going to do this with cobalt blue mixed up with my yellow ochre. And I want to get into here and I want to create some darks around here. I want some a tree, and I'm actually going to come in here and I'm adding some brown. I'm adding some burnt sienna to this area so I can get some darker image. We're going to make a big one right here too. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my mixture and painting literally around this, right? We've got a nice dark tree back here. So let's get some more burnt sienna in here. Mix it up with my cobalt blue. Bring that right off the page. Whoops, sorry. Bring that right off the page. Come over here and we're going to do the same thing with this. Only we're going to make this a little bit more yellow or yellow ochre. We're going to make this one a little bit more ochre-y, like ochre. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm sort of painting around my building here, and I'm going to paint around my telephone pole, my power pole. I used to grow up calling it a telephone pole because that's basically what I remember. So forgive me, that's not correct. All right. Nice and dark. All right. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm sort of painting around. So I'm getting dark around here because I'm going to do all of this stuff. All of the buildings are going to be in white, or a light barn. It's going to be white barn, but the roof will be light. So the big thing is that from my perspective, what happens here is that it's important that we get a lot of pigment, and what's generally what we're doing here is we've got. My palette does not have fresh paint in it, so I'm taking advantage of my advantage. What I mean is that I'm limited in terms of the paint that I'm going to be using because it's not fresh pigment-wise. So we're slowly, what I'm doing is I'm taking my tissue here to create just some interesting leafy patterns. You don't want to do too much of this now, all right? You got to be very careful about this. So I've got a little tissue here, and I need to lighten up some of these. All right. Okay. So I'm going to have some lights and darks that are going to go on in my area over here, my background area. That is the trees that are in the background. And as this dries, I'm going to put in heavier pigment, stronger pigment, more vibrant. And the pigment I'm using right now is just straight yellow ochre back here. Why? You say why? Because what we're doing is we're trying to get some nice, good, strong values in here. Now I'm adding a little bit of burnt sienna to my French ultramarine blue. A lot of pigment, heavy pigment now. This is wet. All right. Okay. So we have some darks and some lights, right? And I think that's we'll probably put more darks in here. All right. All right, so we have the trees are set up on the back. We have this nice white area right here. We're going to start to just work on that. Now down here, it's all going to be sort of soft grass, so we're going to wait on that one. We're going to start to put in our buildings a little bit. So we're going to add a little bit here. Here's what I'm doing, because I'm going to make this white. My buildings are going to be white, but you can't really paint white, right? All right, so I took a little bit of cerulean blue, maybe a little bit of opera. I'm sorry, a little bit of cerulean blue, a little bit of opera, and a little bit of lavender. Okay, so I'm going to work this down so that it's just pretty watery. Nice and watery. And what I'm going to start to do is to look at some of this area here. Now, I'm going to put that in, but before I do that, what I think I need to do is put in a very, very, very light area of warm, value. So I'm going to use, to do that, I'm going to use my Naples yellow. If I can clean my brush over here and just get pure Naples yellow. All right, and so to give us a little bit of a coating of warmth in here, and in here. Okay, now that's going to be steel gray. Okay, very light, very light. And we have an area down in this. We're going to do this very light again. Right. The same thing over here, we're going to end up that's a silo. We got two silos, one behind the other. Okay. Silo number one in front of the other. And the silo in the background is maybe going to be a little bit on the browner side. Okay, so we'll do a little bit of silo number 2 as well. Okay, so we're going to do burnt sienna with a little bit of lavender in it. All right. All right. Silo 1, silo 2, one behind the other. And we need a little bit of a change there. You just let that alone, let it go. So silo 1, silo 2. And I don't know what this is called, but whatever it is, it's part of that process of the silo, the big silo in the background here. Maybe it's a feed. Not sure. I'm not a barn guy, so I don't know. And we're just going to put a little bit of shading . A little bit of shadow underneath this section up here. Alright, so we got make that a little darker. Alright, so we got this in front of that, and that's standpiper, it's right there. Okay, now we're going to come in here and again, what I'm dealing with is working very lightly. And I don't want to get this is wet, so I don't want to get my paws on this paper. But we need to do something. We need to make, we got the shadow that's going here. Okay. And we're going to have a roof. It's sort of on the gray side. And we're changing it up, right? Warm, cool. Same thing up here. We'll get the cool here, cool here, cool in this area. All right, and it's going to be some shadow. Get a little bit more reddish. All right, nice and light. And this is going to be actually lighter at the top. And bluer. So we're going to just use a little bit of cobalt blue. Alright, we got the roof of our barn. So it's going to be white barn. A little bit of cobalt blue. We're going to come down here, we're going to have a shadowed area under here. And okay, and probably the same thing over here. It's going to be a little bit on the shadow side. All right, now a little bit heavy shadow in here. We'll leave that one white. We have our overhang in here, which is going to be basically we'll just do this as blue, cobalt blue. And define this in a bit. Okay, that sets that off. All right. And we have, over here, we have a building that's going to be brownish, dirty brown. Brown gray. Add a little bit of sort of red here. We'll just oop. All right, so let's mix up my blue. I want to get this dirty. I want neutral in here. I want a neutral overhang. Okay. All right. Stone. Do that over there. Do that here. And we're going to do some gray. In here as well. Now I didn't put the building in back here. I don't want that. There's a building there's actually a building or a shed that goes back here, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to do this one here. All right, so we're going to do so let's get some gray. By gray, I'm mixing up a little bit of a cobalt blue, touch of burnt sienna, we'll make this all sort of this is gray. We're going to end up, we'll do a dark window in there, and we'll do the stone building. Put something over here. Grass. And we're going to end up doing a little bit of, bring some of this color, this that value in there as well. Excuse me just for a second, please. Just dropped my brush. All right. So we're slowly creating something that's nice and interesting here. Okay, looks good, looks good. Make that lighter. We have a shadow under here. Window in there. Shadow under there. We got a little bit of stone in here. Okay. Now let's go darken up some of these windows and some of these other things that are over here. One, this is darker. No, it's not a matter of what color am I using because it just darks. And we're going to end up darkening up this as well. Okay, and I want to double check this. Okay, very light. Now let's just take a look at, let's just get this a little bit redder behind here. And darker. Okay. I'm going to leave that nice and light. And put a little shadow under here. And darken in my window there. Can't use that light, have to use. Alrighty. Just softening this up a bit more. So let me get my smaller brush. Got this lovely dagger that I love to use. Alright, so we'll just come in here and make a I have an opening in that area right there. Nice and dark, we're going to make that. Okay. And we got sort of a widow's, sort of a dark area that's here. Now I'm using my maul stick just to keep my hands out of the paint, or the painting, I should say. Okay, now, let's do this thin line. Oh, probably too thick a line. Thin line. My head in the way, sorry about that. I'll get it out of the way here. I'm going to do this as gray. what I'm doing is just filling in what will hopefully look like barn doors. Okay. In the same way with down here, because this goes down and this goes down, and this is going to come across here, and this is going to come across here. Okay. And what's going to happen here is we're going to have a little bit of a shadow going across here. Not a shadow, but the variation in color of the barn up in this area, right down to that point there. All right, and I'm hoping that this will work out. I think it will. Nice darks. Nice darks we'll get in here. This is a combination again of my burnt sienna and my French ultramarine blue. We're going to put more darks in here. Make this dark in here. This is a window. Window. Window dark down here. Window dark. Okay, just out of that. Okay. There is a shadow under here, and there is a shadow under there. Okay, so let's get this blue here. Just a little bit of blue. And we're going to just tint this. All right. Light. The barn itself is going to be light. This is going to be darker over here. All this stuff is going to be darker. Put some flowers here, we'll do something there. Okay, so let's just do that. Alrighty. Now, add a little bit of interest here. Break it up, lights, darks. All right. This is all darker in here. Now we have a big dark window right over here. And same thing, a little bit of warmth up here on the underside. right? Blue. Got a slight shadow. Slight shadow. And we have my foundation down in this area here. We're going to do the same thing. We'll just do this over here. Now we start building this up a little bit. That slab was... All right. So let's go back and get some nice darks in here. All right. And bring this down here. We have I have a cast of blue here and here. All right. Wood pile. Oh, I don't know. We have some wood. Back in that area there. Have a okay. Little steel little tank. Let's just build this all up. Okay, let's get in A little strong. That's going to be sort of all gray. Let that all blend in. Okay, let's get some, again, shadow this side. We'll bring a little bit of shadow down this way. Okay. Make some darker areas right there. So we got our building completed. We're going to put the ground in, ground cover now. The ground cover is going to be we'll do it nice and let's just get let's just do this here. Let's go. All right. My ground cover. Don't need it everywhere, just get a little bit of some interest in there. Now it's popping up. I can see that I want that to lay down. It's popping up on me, so we're going to have to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back and put my final values in. Okay, this may be hard to see. May be very difficult to see because it's wrinkled and unfortunately not very. It's not setting down like it should. I should probably wet the back of this again, but I don't want to do that. What I do want to do is come in here and start to build a little bit stronger. A little bit, make this a little bit stronger. All right. And like all things, there's a shadow underneath this. Shadow there. All right. Just a little bit here and there, and we do have, ultimately that'll be, there's wire on that. We need to make some of these areas a little bit stronger, a little bit darker. My blue. And this is gonna be darker under there. I'm using a thin brush now. A little bit darker under there. I need to make this nice and rich. Dark there. And I'm going to end up doing the same thing with this. We're going to make this start to pop some of that out. Okay. We need to make, this is an overhang. This overhang actually is all, it goes right over everything. Okay. Let's get a little line there. Oh, probably. All right. I'm going to open this up. Make this nice and dark on the inside here. And we have a nice dark window right in here. We don't know what that is. I don't think we really care what that is. I don't think we really care, do we? Let me give you here. Let me get this rusty tank. I don't know if I can do this. I guess we really don't care. We don't really need to know what it is, do we? Oh man. You can see what I just did. I put my green in here. Yeah. What I did is I just picked up all of this green that I'm putting in down here. Jeez, what a jerk. Okay. Alrighty. This is just the final stages. Okay. Good. Excellent, excellent. We got to put that pole in over here. Little power pole, another power pole here. Wet it first. And then bring down your value. A little darker on the top. Lighter in the dark areas. Get some strong heavy values in here. We'll make these all right. Nice strong darks there for the there as well. And so that this is, let's get this to stand out against this. By this I mean this area back here. I want darker to stand out against this wood pile. Okay. Okay. Stick that barn over there, a little there. Not dark enough in here. And not dark enough in there, too. All right. And it's not dark enough in here. Okay. Now, small thing, but also important, and that is the darkest. I want this a little bit darker over here. And the same thing with over here. Let's get And I want it a little bit darker around the building itself. I want that building to stand out. Okay, cool. So we got a nice light barn. Let's wash. One other thing we're gonna do is put in some thin. I got a thin line that I gotta put in. With my rigger. Oh. Oh, look what I did. I put my hands in this thing. Damn. Oh my goodness. Can I fix it? Hopefully. Let's hope that fixes it. Got it all over my fingers. You know, I tried to keep it out, people, but didn't want to work. I think that's going to be it, my friends. That's going to be it. Oh, I know what I need to do. Hold on. Let's just get a couple of little small things in here. Then a post. Not going to worry about what it says right now. I just want to That's it. That's it for the, I'm calling this a painting. Thank you very much for being with me. I appreciate it. Until the next time, remember, every time you pick up a brush, you're painting for pleasure. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.